Very good.
Now, you got something else?
I sure do. Can I?
Absolutely, you can. I won't even. Absolutely.
All right. Now, the 3,000 souls there is interesting. That number, about 3,000 souls. All right. So this miracle on Pentecost brought forth about 3,000 souls to the church that day. The church was added to that day.
Right.
Well, I'm going to take you back to the first Pentecost. Did you know there was a Pentecost before this one?
Yeah. I mean, I've just bits and pieces.
Well, let me go back to Exodus, chapter 32, maybe. I believe that's where this is at. And what you have here is the children of Israel were led out of Egypt, okay?
Yeah.
And they were brought to the foot of Mount Sinai. Let me make sure that I'm in the right spot here. Okay. All right, so they're at the foot of Mount Sinai.
Mm-hmm.
When they receive the commandment of God, they officially enter into covenant with God. God says, you are my people, and I'm your God.
Right.
And this makes it official.
Right.
I give you laws to live by, and
your end of the covenant is you live by.
yeah, and my end is I'd make all these promises that I make to you, I will keep.
Yes.
Okay?
Absolutely.
So this is the first Pentecost ever, and God makes a covenant with his people. This is the first covenant.
Okay.
All right, now I'm going to show you what happens. Now, we all know the story. I ain't going to go in real depth here. We all know the story of what happens when he goes up on the mountain to receive the first tablets
of stone,
okay?
right, with it, yes.
So as he's coming off, he hears this noise down here, and I'm just going to cut to the chase. Well, Aaron and them had taken off all their earrings and made a golden calf.
Yeah.
All right, apostasy already.
Yes. And right.
Okay,
exactly.
and so Moses is very angry when he comes off that mountain.
That he actually breaks.
Yes, and let me tell you what he did right here. And when Moses saw that the people were naked, for Aaron had made them naked unto their shame among their enemies. This is chapter 32, verse 26. Then Moses stood in the gate of the camp and said, who is on the Lord's side? Let him come unto me. And all the sons of Levi gathered themselves together unto him. And he said unto them, thus saith the Lord God of Israel, put every man his sword by his side, and go in and out from gate to gate throughout the camp, and slay every man his brother, and every man his companion, and every man his neighbor. Wow. Now sometimes we gloss over that right there.
Right, yeah.
Okay, because that's not a popular part of the story, but this is it's
judgment.
There is a great message here. And the children of Levi, now listen to that, the Levites, did according to the word of Moses, and there fell of the people that day, again, about 3,000. The very same language. Okay, so the original covenant with God, this is the law, all right? Death. The new covenant.
Life.
The new covenant. Life.
That's amazing. I've never seen that.
And right here, let me sum this up, what Paul says right here in 2 Corinthians chapter 3. Verse 6. Who also made us able ministers of the New Testament, not of the letter. He's talking about Jesus Christ.
Yes.
Not of the letter, which is the law, but of the Spirit. For the letter killeth, but the Spirit giveth life. And boy, don't that ring true in all that?
Absolutely. That's just another one of them parallels you just can't deny. The immutable authority of God and the power that that this happens.
Yeah.
And I'd never seen that.
Yeah.
But when you started, and then the wheels. It started turning, and then
see, we all know the story about him coming off. He's angry,
right?
But that's something we often gloss over. But boy, there's so much right there,
right? And it has to be a direct connection because it's a correlation. I mean, the original brought death, the new covenant brings life.
Yeah,
and that's very very good. And
same language.
It never ends. Yeah,
same language. About 3,000 in both in both places.
And it never
That's not a
ends.
coincidence.
No, brother, it's not.
No.
And then those places are over and over and over and over through the scripture.
That's why we mind, brothers and
That's
sisters.
exactly
That's why we mind, right
yes,
there.
Yes, but because
If that don't make your day, nothing will.
right. Well, and you know, when you start looking, you know, and I guess the way that I would put this, if I look at you and I tell you, hey, Rodney, I've got this magic coffee. If you drink this coffee, it will instantly give you 25 more years to your life. Now, you may even have enough confidence in me to entertain that thought. But if you saw me present this to this man, to this man, to this man, and to this man, and you saw the actual evidence of that over and over and over again, you're automatically going to have a whole lot more chance of grabbing that coffee and expecting a result.
Seeing is believing.
The same way with all of these correlations in the Bible.
Yep.
When we start to see them, it increases our faith. And whether we want to admit it or not,
Yeah.
I mean, there's times, whether it be as a young Christian, an old Christian, however you want to look at it, but there's times that if we're not real careful, we allow life to get bigger than the giver of life. Mm-hmm. And in that, you know,
we let doubts creep in.
Right. Mm-hmm. All of these spots just seems like for me, it just seems like it causes me to rise higher. So when that time comes that doubt wants to creep in, now my mind goes back and I'm thinking, come on.
Yeah.
I mean,
right.
3,000 in the covenant that brought death, and 3,000 at the very beginning of both of them. I mean, you know, there's parallels all the way. Yes, I think it's very good to see all that.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
very good. And I appreciate that, man. That's rich.
Yeah,
very good. All right, you got something else?
No, sir.
Are you sure?
I'm pretty sure. I'll jump in.
Well, I don't want to rob you or myself of another nugget like that when you just pull
that's
out.
A good one.
Yeah, buddy. Okay. All right. Verse 42. And they continued steadfastly in the apostles' doctrine and fellowship, and in the breaking of bread and in prayer.
So there you see again, unity.
Yes. It's a must. I mean, in my opinion, I think a vast majority of the deficit that we're living in as the body is because of that. Yeah. I mean, we can't. I mean, come on, we can't get two Baptists or two Baptists or two holiness denominations. The church is too good.
It's definitely done a number.
Absolutely, it most certainly has. All right. So now, in verse 43, and fear came upon every soul, and many wonders and signs were done by the apostles, and all that believed were together and had all things common.
There we go again.
You know, that's 3 times that's mentioned. I mean, should that not tell us that there's something to that?
Yeah, sure enough.
Okay, now, you got anything on any of them?
No. And you know, I'm going to go back to the 3,000 before we move on. You know, that's the fruit of the church. That's what we see being produced by the Holy Ghost here. Right. It's that fruit of the church. But there's also other fruit being produced. These other people are hearing this gospel and taking it. Yeah, taking this to the ends of the world.
Exactly.
And so for the first time, the people they're taking this to is hearing the gospel.
It's hearing the gospel.
So there's more fruit than just the 3,000. I know we elaborated on that a little earlier, but it's good to point that out. That's not the only fruit that we're seeing.
Exactly. Yes. Well, and I think, you know, and you go back and look, you know, at that first covenant. I mean, those 3,000 were not the only ones that died in the wilderness during that journey.
Sure. Yeah.
So you know, it's showing at the birth of the covenant we see, and at the birth of the covenant we see.
Right.
And so and I agree with you. I mean, this. Well, I mean, it expounded to the point that, you know, look at what it's became, you know, today. Now, I know we've diluted it a whole lot, but man, the gospel, I mean, it's going everywhere. So yes, you know, and this is where it all started. And there is, I'm sure, lots of things that we're not seeing that's written here, that's being done, and that's fruits of these first 3,000.
Right.
Okay, you got something else? Now, verse 45, and sold their possessions and goods, and parted them to all men, and as every man had need. Now, and again, this is just going to show that in the beginning there was such a heart that these people, man, I mean, they're walking away from everything.
Yeah, and some people would look at this and say, well, the Bible's promoting socialism.
Right.
But wait a minute, that's not what he's saying here. This is survival. This is survival.
Exactly.
These early church members, I mean, they were running on fumes, brother.
Yeah.
And so everybody leaned on everybody
Right.
to make it through.
Right.
And,
Well,
I mean, there's coming a time
that it could
that it's
possibly.
likely that we could see a time like this again.
Right. Absolutely.
When you look at churches in other countries, that is not as fortunate as us,
Yeah.
in these little countries that, the Christianity is forbidden, they have to come together and congregate underground and in hidden
Oh, yeah.
places. Now, these people are leaning on one another.
Right.
And
that's what we're seeing
and that's
here.
exactly what God
Yes.
teaches us to do, is lean on one another.
Right.
Now, socialism is a whole different animal.
Yeah. Absolutely.
That's me being the government, taking a gun, putting it to your chest and saying, here, give me what I desire.
Exactly.
So that I can distribute it the way I
Yes.
want. That's an evil concept.
Right. Yes.
So that's not what we're seeing here. I
No,
just want everybody to see that
yes.
this is not socialism
Right.
here.
Absolutely. Well, and to me,
This is every man given his
right.
heart.
I see a heart
Yeah.
that says there is absolutely nothing in my life
Yeah.
that is worth me neglecting this opportunity that's presented before me. I mean, even if that means, and you're exactly right, that I'm going to put myself in a spot to where my need is actually going to possibly come from somebody else, and I'm going to have to depend on them, then so be it, because I want this. I mean,
Yeah.
they're going after this, it was important enough that they did not see a value in their possessions
Right.
being near as valuable as this gospel that they've just heard. Again, that's something else that, and I'm not going to even go into monetary possessions, but here's the thing that I think about a whole lot, is if the time ever come, and I'm certainly not going to say that it's not going to, but if the time ever come that it came down to somebody coming up to me and pulling the hammer back on a loaded gun and pointing it to my head and saying, you denounce Christ or you take this bullet. Now, I know that the common response, well, that'll never happen to us. Well, I'll tell you what you do. You do a little history search on the situation at Columbine High School a few years back.
Yeah.
That shooting, there was actually a girl, and it was recorded, a teenage girl. That shooter knew, because she was very expressive about her faith and how she believed in God. That shooter, one of those shooters, went to that girl and specifically told her with a loaded gun in his hand. Now, this young girl had watched him shoot 2 or 3 other students. You denounce Christ, or the next one's for you. And in the audio recording that I've heard, the best I can remember, the words, I love you, Jesus, or something along those lines muttered out of her mouth, and you hear the trigger pulled. Now, and the reason I say that is, if that ever comes to that spot again, and it's obvious that the heart of man is certainly capable of doing that, because we seen that several years ago right there.
Right.
What are we going to do? And this one, I'm going to throw this one out to preachers, pastors, teachers, deacons, all. I mean, we're going to put everybody in the basket. What do we do if that opportunity comes to me and you? Now, and I know I've had this conversation, and I know the response. Well, I tell them to shoot me. Okay. Ask yourself that very same question when your neighbor does a little something that ain't nowhere remotely close to that. But there's such a great need for me to prove my point that I'm going to walk over there and I'm going to show you, big boy, you'll not do me like that and get by with that. We've got a vast contradiction there.
Boy, that's good.
If my life means enough to me that just my neighbor throwing a stick over in my yard, I don't care if the man's done it 100 times a day for the last 5 years. You're going to tell me that my flesh is still so strong in me that I've got to retaliate against that man. And if somebody cocks a pistol and puts it to my head and I've just watched him shoot a half a dozen people, well, we better do some examining and make sure that something we've got is a whole lot more than a shout, a run, and a holler.
Boy, that's good.
Because the time could come that we're actually going to be put in that spot.
Yeah.
That there better be something pretty big in here, or I may find myself coming up short.
Yeah.
And that's what I see right there with
really
that. This heart right here, there was nothing in their life that meant as much to them.
Yeah.
Man, what I found. I mean, I couldn't see a man. I mean, that's the mind. So, again, and I say that because, we're so quick to jump on that bandwagon and say, oh, well, I'd do it. But at the same time, we've got teachers, we've got deacons, we've got preachers, we've got evangelists, we've got all these people, church members, all the way down the spectrum, that their way is so important to them that they're actually willing to destroy the heart of a young convert and take that chance because you didn't do it my way. I'm going to tell you, if my way's that important, I better do something with that because the time could come.
Boy, you're bringing out some good stuff.
That's
exactly right.
It could come to the place that now, and it's easy, it's easy for me and you sitting right here in this room, knowing what are the chances that somebody's going to come through this door right here and shoot me and you. I mean, it could happen. I'm not going to say it couldn't, but what are the chances?
Right.
But if I've sit and watched, for the last year, me and you sit and watch them infiltrate, other Christian podcasters that's trying to do what we're trying to do, and all of a sudden, 30 of them in the last month, we've seen somebody kick the door in and not say a word and shoot them in the head. That kind of puts a little different spin on it.
Yes, it does, brother. Yes, it does.
And then now you put
that's going to reveal the heart. Yeah.
And that's my concern, because we've gotten to the point to where that need to be right, that build my own kingdom rather than the kingdom of God, to the point that this is my way and I can take 2 or 3 scriptures out of the Bible and use them to beat you into submission. And now I'm sitting here and I'm saying,
ain't that a form of lust?
Sure it is. I mean, here's my thing. What honor, if we stop and look at that, if you've got to beat me to get me to come in here, is that not the very difference between the angels and man? And God created man as his own free moral agent that he would actually choose to serve him. And in a lot of churches, we're actually beating them or keeping them under a spirit of fear over staying.
Well, I think we're doing that with worship as well.
Absolutely. And we sure are. And we're presenting as it's God, and we're doing nothing more than making ourselves a Lord over God's heritage. And we're saying, okay, in the name of God, you do this my way, or you get out, because if you stay here, I'm going to beat you to the point you're going to either be so ashamed, or you're going to move to what I'm telling you.
I mean, I've actually heard people say, right there out of the pulpit, I've seen you people sit here for 20 years and never move. And I think to myself, well,
they've sit there
that's
for 20
a pretty
years.
good track record.
Absolutely.
If that person sit there for 20 years, he's getting something.
Right. You can bet he's endured something over them 20 years.
And I see a lot of those who are very charismatic in their worship just simply fall away. One day they're there, one day they've disappeared.
Just
disappeared. And the next thing you know, you see stuff on Facebook that surely does not look very Christian.
Yes.
And so you assume, well, they've fallen away. So they found their identity in the wrong thing.
That's exactly right, brother. And we see now, if my day not going the way that I think it ought, or you know, and we've all seen them. You know, you find somebody at you know in a church, and you know, and the preacher don't shake their hand when they go to leave or whatever, and you know, then they just throw in the towel and quit. If that's all I'm standing on,
Yeah.
and I'm not on something, what am I going to do if that time ever arrives?
Yeah.
Or what do I do if you know, my stomach starts hurting and I go to the doctor and I find out, well, you're ate up with stomach cancer. I mean, we got to be careful.
The day will declare it.
That's exactly what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
So we got to be careful where we're finding our identity. We
Yeah.
better find a good, healthy place
Yeah.
in Him, and then allow that to be my base, and then these other directions that we flow will be healthy as well.
Right.
All right, you got something else?
No, very good.
All right, in verse 46, and they continued daily, again, now here's the fourth time, with one accord in the temple, and breaking of bread from house to house, did eat their meat with gladness, again, fifth time, and singleness of heart, praising God and having favor with all the people. And the Lord added to the church daily such as should be saved. Now, and I'll just say, just them last few verses, just go back and read them and ask yourself in the body of believers that you're with, is this something that I see flowing? And the ones that stand out to most to me is the people coming together in one mind. And now, and you know, it would be easy for me to you know, be sitting right here and you reach over yonder and pick up a hoe handle and crack me down over my head and you know, and beat me into submitting to you.
Yeah.
That would be easy. But what they're saying is there was something in the heart of these people that they willingly laid down their possessions, they willingly submitted, that they willingly come together because there was something that they seen in them men that they desired. It didn't say that Peter and the other 11 beat them to the point that they finally just submitted and said, okay, I'm tired of the beating, so I'll stay.
That ain't worth spit, no way.
It ain't worth a dime. I've heard this before. If the devil can draw you in with a, I mean, if the church can draw you in with a hot dog, the devil will draw you out with a cheeseburger.
Yeah.
But look at where we're going.
That ain't worth spit.
It ain't.
You know, if you have to talk people into worshiping, if you have,
Right. If I have to do this in fear, if it's fear that, you know, and me and my son-in-law was talking about this today, and he said, you know, he said in a lot of places, he said people don't attend the local assembly because they see the need and they love God. They attend because they're terrified that the pastor is going to get up the next Sunday morning when they go back after they've missed and absolutely beat them to death and embarrass them in front of the congregation.
Yeah.
And you can go 7 days a week, and if that's the heart that's driving it, you're not in the right spot.
No.
And the man that's standing there getting glory in the fact that that's the way he keeps you under subjection, he's just as blind as the person that's living in that.
Amen, buddy. Amen. Well said.
And there's no spiritual strength in any of them.
Well said.
So
Luke is really driving home the fact that they are in one mind and one accord, all unified.
Every one of them is unified.
And
yes.
Like I said, boy, it don't take long for that to start going the other way. Real soon.
And we see the effects of it. I mean, I think that that's why that we've got such a diluted version of the gospel.
The devil's seeing this. He is seeing such power in this early church, and he's going,
Yep.
I'd better do something about this.
Absolutely. And we mentioned it, you know, in the last podcast or a couple of podcasts ago. You ain't gonna take a chance on going to prison to counterfeit $1 bills.
Yeah.
You're gonna go after the stuff that really matters.
So when you're getting God's attention, you're getting the devil's attention too.
That's exactly
Go back to
right.
Job. You brought that up earlier, and I don't want to tarry here, but you go back to Job. The first thing God says to Satan is, "Hey, have you seen my servant Job?" What does Satan say? Yeah, I've seen him.
Yeah.
So, he got God's attention.
Absolutely.
But he got Satan's attention as well.
Right. He noticed.
Yeah, he'd already noticed.
And yes.
He didn't like, no, where's he live at? I'll go pay him a visit.
That's exactly right.
He'd already
and it's important to catch that.
Yes, it is.
Just the same as he had got God's attention and God noticed him out of everybody, so did Satan.
And so when you see a work of God going on, and we see it in our life.
Well, sure.
If you step out for God,
Absolutely.
there's going to be spiritual battles come against you.
Yeah.
Just the way it works.
It is.
I mean, you know,
Yeah.
this battle, this warfare is real.
It is real.
mean-
That's why did Paul write and tell Timothy, endure hardness as a good soldier?
Right.
I mean, he's letting him know, dude, there's going to be times that it's going to get rough.
Right.
But you've just got to persevere through that and understand that it's not coming against you, but it's coming again the kingdom of God and that God has put in you,
Yeah.
what He's building. And
So many times, Paul compares the Christian to a soldier, or
Yes.
you know, girding up the loins, and
Right.
he talks about
The helmet
putting on
of
the
salvation.
armor, you know,
Yes. Exactly.
and the sword of the Spirit, and all that stuff. So he's equating a Christian to that soldier. I'm
To
glad
that
you brought that up. You know what makes one of the best soldiers in the world? When you look at you know, the Green Berets,
yeah,
and now the Navy SEALs, what sets them apart from a lot of folks is their ability to endure hardships no
Right.
matter what. And the better they can do that and deny their
Themselves.
feelings, deny themselves,
Right.
deny their feelings,
exactly.
that makes them a better soldier.
That
The
makes them
the
a better
better they can
soldier.
do that, the better the soldier they're going to
Yes,
be.
absolutely.
And that's the way we should look at
That's
it.
exactly right. You never, you know, and that whole Navy SEAL thing, and I'm actually watched you know, a bunch of stuff, and there's 2 or 3 podcasts that I listen to from time to time that's actually Navy SEALs or ex-Navy SEALs that do them, and that was one thing that every one of them will tell you, that once they get to that point to where they've actually proven themselves to not allow their situation
To dictate them.
to dictate them, that the drill sergeant will always look at them and say, our intent, and I'll give you a good example of that right here in just a second. Our intent is never, ever to get you to that spot to where we want to break you. Our intent is to actually push you so you can prove to yourself that I actually have something in me. I'm not breakable. And there was a guy that one of them was talking about that came in to be a Navy SEAL. And of course, you know, you have to take aptitude tests. I mean, there's a lot of stuff involved with that. But this individual was already in the military, and he went and he said, you know, he said, I want to be a Navy SEAL. And one of the SEAL drill instructors, you know, looked at him and said, dude, do you know how many other servicemen and women out here that want to be a SEAL? I mean, you show me you've got something worthy, and we'll make you a SEAL. You know, guy looked at him and said, okay, what do you want to see? Well, you know, that they do a lot of their training in the water. He looked at him and he told him, he said, jump down in that water, he said, in that pool, and he said, let's see how fast you can get to the other side. The guy said, okay. Said he jumped right out in that water and said he sunk like a rock to the bottom. And said, man said, and he got to the bottom, said, here he went, walking. And said his time was slower than anybody's. But said he kind of walked and hopped all the way across the bottom of that pole. And then when he got to the other side, pushed himself up and grabbed the side. He said that drill sergeant looked at him and said, you could have swam and you'd have been a lot faster and you'd have proved a lot more to me. Why did you not swim? The old guy looked at him and said, I can't swim. And he looked at him and he said, you got it, you're in. Because that dude faced his fear and just, exactly, and that's a very good analogy. It's the same principle. You know, we've got to understand, I either believe it to the point that there's nothing that can come again me that's going to separate me from this truth.
Right.
Or I'm going to find myself going to a... Why do you think Jesus made this statement to some of the disciples when he was talking to them and teaching them? He said, no king goes out to battle against another king unless he first count the cost before he goes. Because he said he don't want to take his few hundred or however he words it out again thousands and be embarrassed, and this is in my word, be embarrassed and get defeated simply and turn around and come back with his tail tucked between his legs and have to suffer defeat. He's teaching us, count the cost. We've got to be willing to submit ourselves to this, to that point. Or we may find ourselves somewhere down the line actually seeing something matter more than what matters most. And that could even be as much as my opinion or my desire to prove you wrong.
Right.
Because them two things has caused the church more trouble than anything that I've experienced in my time.
Exactly right.
So, I mean, we need to look a little deeper.
I give you a war you won't believe. I've been wanting to do that since we've been talking about it.
And there you go.
Anyway.
We're going to have to turn into them Christian Rambos and be willing to run out there on that field and fight. All right, it was good. I enjoyed it. I hope the people that listen enjoyed it. And I hope maybe, again, I'm not here to cause you to doubt a denomination or something you've been taught your whole life. But I am here to hopefully, if you're seeing something that's not anchored in truth, to at least get you to question it enough to where you'll start digging to try to find an answer. Don't you think that? I mean, you talked about this before we started it. That was
That's the goal.
Yeah, the motivator.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Very good.
Hit that like and subscribe button.
Appreciate you being along with us tonight. Excellent study. Appreciate all the wonderful points my good brother here brought out. He's always a treasure to me.
Well, you are to me. That just goes to show that we can all, if we're willing to put time into it. I mean, that 3,000, man, that's amazing.
That is wild.
That's amazing.
How many other little gems are in there that we're missing?
And I hope that
we're going to mine
the Lord the Lord will let us live long enough we can dig them all out.
Yeah. Well, we got to keep our tools sharp, don't we?
Yeah, that's exactly right.
All right. Well, thank you for being with us tonight, and we'll be back in our next series with Acts chapter 3.
Chapter 3.
Over and out.